Hello and welcome to Stories in Life. Here we share real and emotional stories that touch the heart, make you think, and sometimes even change the way you see the world. If you love deep, meaningful life experiences, subscribe now and join our community. Your support helps us bring you even more powerful stories that inspire, move, and stay with you long after the video ends. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into today's story together. The February evening of the 7th was no different from hundreds of others. Valentina was preparing dinner. The apartment was ordinary. A concrete block building from the 80s, third floor out of 9, windows facing two sides. 15 years of mortgage payments that she and her husband Igor had finally paid off just 3 years ago. On the stove, beef with vegetables was simmering, her husband's favorite dish. Valentina mechanically stirred the contents of the pan, thinking about the upcoming celebration. In a month, it would be their 28th wedding anniversary. That morning she had bought tickets to the community theater for a performance of The Marriage of Figaro. She wanted to surprise him. The tickets lay in her purse, hidden in her old wallet. Igor was running late. Another accident at the plant. The third one this month. He worked as a senior engineer at Techmash, which manufactured industrial equipment for the oil industry. The plant was located in the industrial zone on the outskirts of town, 40 minutes by car from home. Their old Toyota Camry was now parked in the factory lot. The sound of notifications from the living room made Valentina turn off the stove. Igor's tablet lay on the coffee table. He often forgot it at home. The screen was glowing, showing incoming WhatsApp messages. Valentina approached to turn off the sound. The notifications were annoying, but her gaze caught the text on the screen. The message was from a contact named Nick Warehouse. "Sweetie, you were so passionate today. It still hurts where you were." Her legs gave way. Valentina sat on the couch, took the tablet with trembling hands. There was no password. Igor never set passwords, said he had nothing to hide. The chat opened immediately. What she saw made her press her hand to her mouth to keep from screaming. Photos. Dozens of photos. A young woman with blonde hair and freckles on her bare shoulders. Selfies in bed, where Igor's back was visible in the background with a characteristic mole between his shoulder blades. The same mole Valentina had known for 28 years. The messages were even worse than the photos. Detailed, explicit, with intimate details of their meetings. Nick Warehouse turned out to be Irene Glover, 38 years old, a marketing specialist from the sales department of the same plant. Valentina scrolled up. The correspondence had begun in October last year, 4 months ago. First work questions, then personal ones, and since December openly intimate. "Darling, when will we finally be together?" Irene had written on January 3rd. "Be patient, kitten. I need to arrange everything properly." "The old lady doesn't suspect anything," Igor had replied. Old lady. Valentina reread this word several times. Old lady. Got worse. On January 15th, Irene had written, "That old bat definitely doesn't have a clue. I'm tired of hiding. I want to wake up with you every morning. She's dumb as a brick, believes everything I tell her. But we need to wait. I have to first transfer the cabin and car to my name and withdraw money from the account. After that, divorce and everything will be ours." Valentina read further, and each message was like a knife to the heart. They discussed her shortcomings, her weight, wrinkles, gray hair, laughed at her attempts to look younger. Igor told Irene intimate details of his and Valentina's life, mocking her in bed. "She just lies there like a log, probably thinking about her soap operas," he had written. And Valentina remembered how 2 weeks ago she had tried to seduce her husband, wearing new lingerie. He had turned away, said he was tired. The correspondence contained addresses. An hourly apartment on Highway 29, apartment 89. $300 an hour. They rented for 3 hours 2 to 3 times a week. $800 to $900 a week. More than $3,000 a month. Where did Igor get such money? The answer was found in the December correspondence. Igor had boasted to Irene that he received under-the-table bonuses, cash in envelopes of 4,000 monthly. This money he didn't bring home. He had opened a separate account at another bank. But the most terrible thing Valentina found in last week's correspondence. They were discussing a detailed plan of how to deceive the old lady. First, the cabin. I'll say it needs to be transferred for tax purposes. She'll sign without looking, Igor had written. And if she doesn't sign, Irene had asked. She will. I'll start a fight, threaten divorce. She's afraid of being alone. Old women are all afraid of loneliness. And the money. I'll withdraw it bit by bit. I'll say it's for car repairs. In 2 months, I'll withdraw 100,000 minimum. We've saved up 150,000 there. You're so smart. And the apartment. The apartment gets split 50-50 in divorce. We'll sell it, buy you a better studio. And there'll be enough for a car. Valentina read to the last messages. That morning Irene had written, waiting for you at lunch. Bought that lingerie you love, black with red trim. I'll arrive at 1, say it's a meeting. So there was no accident. Igor had been with her. The sound of keys in the lock made Valentina startle. She quickly closed WhatsApp, put the tablet back in place and went to the bathroom. She locked herself in, turned on the water, and looked at herself in the mirror. 54 years old. Wrinkles around her eyes and lips, gray roots. She'd dyed her hair 2 weeks ago and they'd already grown out. Full shoulders, sagging chest, belly after 2 births. Old lady, old bat, log. She washed her face with cold water, dried off and came out. Igor stood in the hallway taking off his shoes. Tall, still slim at 56. The gray hair made him look more distinguished. He smiled when he saw his wife. Val, sorry I'm late. That damn unit broke down again. We worked on it all day. All eyes. Valentina looked at her husband and saw a stranger. 28 years of marriage, and she didn't know him at all. Nothing terrible. Dinner's ready. At the table, Igor ate with appetite and told her about the equipment breakdown, making it up as he went. It was obvious. He was getting confused in the details, but Valentina didn't interrupt. She listened and nodded while thinking. Her first impulse was to throw the plate of hot food in his face, scream, throw him out, make a scene. But the words from the correspondence stopped her. He wanted to take the money and property, planned to steal everything and leave for his young mistress. No, she wouldn't give him that opportunity. After dinner, Igor sat down to watch TV. Hockey Rangers against Bruins. Valentina washed dishes and planned. First, document the evidence. Second, protect the money. Third, consult with a lawyer. And all this had to be done secretly. At night, when Igor fell asleep. He always slept deeply, snored so loudly you could hear it in the next room. Valentina got up and went to the living room. She took his tablet, opened the correspondence, and methodically photographed all the messages and photos on her phone. Took more than an hour. Then she checked his email. The password was predictable, his birthday. In the email, she found even more interesting things. Correspondence with realtor Jenny Kingsley about a possible sale of the cabin. Igor was asking how quickly he could sell a property in Pine Grove community and how much he could get for it. The realtor estimated $800,000. Good house, sauna, 10-acre lot. There was also correspondence with a car dealership. Igor was interested in financing for a Mazda. Down payment $30,000, the rest in installments. The car was clearly intended for Irene. In correspondence with her, he had promised a decent car for my queen. Valentina took screenshots, then deleted the browser history so Igor wouldn't notice. In the morning, she called her supervisor Gary Peterson and took a personal day for family circumstances. The old supervisor didn't ask questions. Valentina had hardly taken any sick days or personal time in her 5 years of work. First, she went to her friend Natalie Morrison. They had been friends since high school, then lost touch, but 10 years ago they accidentally met and renewed their friendship. Natalie worked as assistant manager at a major bank, not the one where they had their joint account. Natalie lived alone in a 2-bedroom apartment downtown. She had divorced 5 years ago, had no children. At 52, she looked 45, took care of herself, did yoga, ate right. Opening the door and seeing her friend's face, Natalie immediately understood everything. What happened? Igor. Valentina nodded and burst into tears. For the first time in these 24 hours, she let the tears flow. Natalie hugged her, led her to the kitchen, poured brandy. Tell me. Valentina showed photos of the correspondence. Natalie read, and her face became increasingly grim. Bastard, she said when she finished reading. Sorry for the language, but there's no other way to say it. What should I do, Nat? First, don't panic. Second, protect your assets. Where do you keep your money? Joint account at First National. 150,000 in savings. Okay, listen carefully. I'm opening an account at our bank in your name. Transfer the money there, but not all at once. That would raise suspicion. In parts, as if for purchases. 2 or 3,000 at a time over several days. We'll register it as consumer expenses. But this is our joint money. Val, you have the right to manage it. This is jointly earned property. And judging by the correspondence, he's planning to steal it himself. You're just acting preemptively. Natalie got out her laptop, logged into the banking system. Let's open an account for you right now. Let's do it. I have my ID with me. Within an hour, they had opened a new account in Valentina Peterson's name. They transferred the first 2,000 under the guise of furniture payment. In 3 days, transfer another 3,000, then more. In 2 weeks, you'll withdraw the main sum. Leave about 1,100 so he doesn't notice right away. And if he notices, tell him you spent it. On a spa treatment, on clothes, on anything. You have the right to spend family money. Then Natalie gave her a lawyer's contact information. This is Vera Osborne, the best divorce attorney in the city. She's helped many of my female clients. Call her, say you're referred by me. Valentina called right from Natalie's apartment. Vera scheduled a meeting for the next day. And one more thing, Natalie said. Act normal. Let that fool think you don't know anything. Gather evidence. Document everything. Expenses, correspondence, calls. And most importantly, don't sign any documents. Valentina returned home by lunch. Her son Paul was home. He had a break between classes. 23 years old. Final year of the economics program at the local university. Tall like his father, but with his mother's soft facial features. Mom, why are you so pale? He asked, pouring himself tea. Headache, I'm going to lie down. Should I get you a pill? No need, thanks. Paul shrugged and went to his room. A typical young man of his generation. Computer, headphones, virtual reality more important than real life. Valentina lay on the bed and thought, I need to talk to my daughter Allie. She was 26. Lived separately with her boyfriend Arthur in a rental apartment. Worked as a designer at an advertising agency. She dialed her daughter's number. Hi, Mom. Did something happen? Allie, we need to talk. Can you come over tonight when Dad's not home? Mom, you're scaring me. Come over, I'll explain. Igor came home at 7 as usual. Cheerful, satisfied. Brought flowers. 3 pathetic roses from the stand by the subway. This is for you, dear, just because. Valentina took the flowers and put them in a vase. Just because. After spending the day with his mistress, he brought his wife 3 roses at $5 each. Generosity. During dinner, Igor was especially talkative, telling jokes he'd heard at work. Valentina smiled and wondered who he'd heard them from. From Irene. After dinner, Igor said he was going to the garage. Had to fix something in the car. The garage was a 15-minute walk away. In the Auto Enthusiasts Cooperative. As soon as he left, Allie arrived. The daughter looked worried. Mom, what happened? Valentina showed her part of the correspondence. Not the intimate details, just the fact of the affair and her father's plans. Allie read, and her face changed from bewilderment to anger. What a bastard, she said. Mom, are you sure this is real? Maybe someone hacked his account. Ali, there are photos of them together. The daughter covered her face with her hands. I can't believe it. How could he? Ali, I want to ask. Did you know anything? Maybe saw something strange. The daughter looked away. Ali. Mom, I saw them in December at the mall. They were hugging by the fountain on the second floor. And you stayed silent. Ali started crying. I approached Dad and asked him later. He said it was a misunderstanding, that she hugged him unexpectedly, that he pushed her away, asked me not to tell you so as not to upset you, and gave me money. Money. 5,000 for a down payment on a car. Said it was our secret, a gift from father to daughter. Valentina looked at her daughter and didn't recognize her. Her girl, whom she had raised, had taken money for silence. Mom, forgive me, I thought it really meant nothing that he would stop. 3 months, Ali. 3 months you knew and stayed silent. Forgive me, Mom, I'm an idiot. I wasn't thinking. Valentina hugged her daughter. What could you say? Igor had bought his own daughter's silence, manipulated her like everyone else. What are you going to do? Ali asked, wiping away tears. I'll divorce him, but first I need to protect our money. He wants to take everything. I'll help. How can I? For now, just stay quiet. Normal. And don't talk to Paul. Paul doesn't know. No. And let him not know for now. Ali left, and Valentina remained waiting for her husband. Igor returned after 2 hours. He smelled of alcohol. Had a few drinks at the garage, a couple of shots, he explained. Kyle, my garage neighbor, is an alcoholic. Convenient excuse. Valentina smelled her husband's shirt when he went to shower. Women's perfume, sweet, cloying, not alcohol. His mistress. The next day, Valentina went to the lawyer. Vera Osborne turned out to be a woman of about 60. Strict in a business suit. Office in an old mansion downtown. Converted to offices. Valentina showed all the evidence. Vera carefully studied it, making notes in a notebook. Excellent evidence of infidelity. This will help with property division. What do you have? 3-bedroom apartment, registered to both. Cabin in Pine Grove, also to both. Toyota car in my name. Savings of 150,000 in a joint account. Income mine is 120,000. His officially is 90,000. And unofficially, he receives under-the-table bonuses of 4,000 a month. Evidence. Only his correspondence where he brags to his mistress. That's not enough. We need documents, statements, witnesses. Okay, we'll work with what we have. By law, property is divided 50-50 in divorce, but considering the infidelity and his planned deception, we can claim a larger share. We'll definitely get you the apartment. The minor son is registered there. Paul is 23. Then it's more difficult, but we'll try. The cabin will have to be sold and the money divided. The car remains yours. With the money, transfer it gradually. That's your right. Most importantly, don't sign any documents for property transfer. How much will the divorce cost? My services are 15,000. Court fees and expenses. Another 5,000. Total 20,000. Does that work? Yes. Then let's start preparing. Don't file for divorce yet. Gather all documents and behave naturally. The next 2 weeks were the hardest in Valentina's life. She smiled at her husband, prepared his breakfasts, washed his clothes, the same clothes he wore to his mistress, while methodically transferring money to the new account. Igor noticed nothing. He was too absorbed in his romance. 3 times a week he was late from work or went to the garage. He returned satisfied, relaxed. Sometimes he brought his wife small gifts. Chocolate, a flower. Payment for betrayal. Meanwhile, Valentina studied her rival. Irene Glover, 38 years old, divorced 3 years ago. Ex-husband Oliver Glover, businessman, left her with a child and went to a young secretary. Paid alimony irregularly. Irene's son Daniel, 15 years old, studies at a regular school. Judging by his social media page, a typical teenager. Games, music, girls. Irene herself had worked at TechMash for 4 years. Salary, judging by job postings, $60,000. Lived in a rented studio apartment in Lincoln District. Not the worst, but not prestigious either. The apartment cost $2,500 a month. On social media, Irene posted photos from travels. Turkey, Egypt, Tunisia. Always budget hotels, last-minute deals. In photos, bright dresses, tan, smiles. A lonely woman searching for happiness. Valentina even felt sorry for her for a moment. Then she remembered the correspondence. Old lady, old bat, dumb. And the pity passed. In early March, 3 weeks after discovering the affair, Igor began to act. He came home from work with a folder of documents. "Val, I need your signature here." "What is this?" "Documents for the cabin. I want to transfer it to my name." "Why?" "Well, it's better for taxes. I registered as self-employed just in case. Remember, I can write off cabin expenses as business expenses." Lie. He had no self-employment registration. Valentina took the documents, pretended to read. "It says here it's a gift deed. This isn't for taxes." Igor tensed. "Well, that's a formality. It's easier to arrange this way." "Igor, this is our cabin. We built it together." "Val, don't you trust me?" Classic manipulation. Valentina looked her husband in the eyes. "Let's go to a notary, arrange it properly so there won't be problems later." "What problems between us? You never know, laws change." Igor got angry. "Val, we've been married 28 years. What notary? Have you completely lost your mind?" "Don't yell at me. I just want everything to be legal." He left, slamming the door. Valentina didn't sign the documents. That evening, Igor's mother Linda called. A 78-year-old old lady living in the neighboring building. "Val, what's happening with you two?" Igor came over all upset. "Nothing special, Mom. Minor disagreements." "He said you don't trust him. How can that be? He's your husband." "Mom, these are our affairs. We'll figure it out." "Val, don't be stupid. In our time, wives obeyed their husbands. In your time, husbands didn't cheat with young mistresses. Or they did, but wives endured it." Valentina politely said goodbye and hung up. The next day, Igor applied a new tactic. He came with flowers. Not 3 roses anymore, but a whole bouquet of tulips. "Valerie, forgive me, I got heated. Of course, let's arrange it with a notary." Valentina became suspicious. He gave up too easily. "Good, let's make an appointment next week." "Why wait? Let's do it tomorrow." "I have an important meeting tomorrow." "Then the day after tomorrow." Something was wrong. Why was he in such a hurry? The answer came unexpectedly. That evening, when Igor was in the shower, his phone beeped. SMS from Irene. "Darling, don't forget. March 15th is the bank deadline." Bank. Valentina quickly went online. March 15th, in 10 days. What was supposed to happen? The next day she took a personal day and went to the bank where they used to have their mortgage account. "Can you take a loan secured by property?" she asked casually. "Of course, if the property is in your ownership. And if it's jointly owned. You need the consent of the second owner. And if the property is transferred to one person, then they can take a loan individually. Up to $300,000 secured by a cabin or apartment." There it was. Igor wanted to transfer the cabin to take out a loan. $300,000. Good money to start a new life with his mistress. Valentina thanked the manager and left. On the way home, she called the lawyer. "Vera, he's trying to transfer the cabin to his name, planning to take a loan secured by it. Under no circumstances sign anything and document all pressure attempts. Record on a voice recorder if possible." That evening, Igor again brought up the cabin topic. "Val, why are you being so stubborn? Sign it and be done with it." Valentina turned on the voice recorder on her phone in her pocket. Igor, I told you, let's go to a notary. What's this obsession with a notary? It's unnecessary expense. How much? At least $1,000. We have money. Igor turned red. Speaking of money, I looked at our account. There's less there. 3,000 missing somewhere. I bought a fur coat. What fur coat? Where is it? At the dry cleaners. Mink. Long. I've been dreaming of it for a long time. 3,000 for a fur coat. Have you completely lost your mind? Don't yell. This is our joint money. I have the right. Right. You have the right. I bust my ass from morning to night, and you spend it on rags. You bust your ass, Igor. I work too and earn more than you. This was true. Officially, Valentina earned more, but with his under-the-table income, Igor was ahead. More than me. You're nobody without me. An old fool they keep at work out of pity. Valentina pressed the stop button on the recording. Enough. Igor, if I'm so bad, maybe we should get divorced. He froze. What? You want a divorce? I want you to stop yelling at me. Val, forgive me, I got heated. No divorce. We're family. A family he betrayed every day. In mid-March, something unexpected happened. Ali called. Mom, are you sitting down? What happened? I just saw Dad at the Plaza restaurant with that woman. Plaza, an expensive restaurant downtown. Average check $300 per person. Blonde, about 35? Yes, Mom, they were kissing right at the table. I see. Mom, are you getting divorced? Not yet. Ali, don't interfere, please. But Mom dash. Ali, I'll handle it myself. That evening, Igor came home late, said he'd been at a corporate party, the department head's birthday. Where did you celebrate? Valentina asked. At Sakura Sushi. Good rolls there. Sakura Sushi, a chain fast food place. But he'd been at Plaza with his mistress. With money he was hiding from his family. The next day, Valentina did something she hadn't planned. She went to the Techmash plant and waited for lunch break. Irene came out of the entrance at 12:30. Short, slim blonde, bright coat, high boots, well-groomed despite her modest income. Igor followed. They met by the car. He opened the door for her. A gentleman. He hadn't opened a door for Valentina in 10 years. They drove away. Valentina knew where. The rental apartment on Highway 29. 3 hours of passion for $900. Valentina drove back to work. Her soul felt empty. Not even painful, just empty. At the end of March, Igor made a final attempt. He came home drunk. Not heavily but noticeably. Valentina. He began in an official tone. I demand that you sign the cabin documents. No, this isn't a request, this is a demand. And what will you do? Beat me. I won't beat you, but I'll make your life hell. That's a threat. That's a warning. I have naked photos of you. Remember, we took pictures in Turkey. Valentina remembered. 5 years ago in the hotel room, Igor had persuaded her to take intimate photos for the family archive. So what? I'll post them online, send them to your boss, to all your friends. Igor, that's blackmail. A criminal offense. Prove it. Valentina stood up. Igor, I know about Irene. He paled. What? I know about Irene Glover, about the rental apartment, about your plans. I know everything. How did you dash? You forgot your tablet at home, and you don't have a password on WhatsApp. Igor was silent, processing the information. So what? He finally said. Well, yes, I have a woman who appreciates me, unlike you. She appreciates your money, Igor, which you don't actually have. I do. I will. You won't. I transferred our savings to my account. What did you do? How dare you? That's our joint money. I have the right. Igor jumped up, raised his hand, but at that moment Paul came out of his room. What's happening, Dad? What are you doing? Igor lowered his hand. Nothing, your mom and I are talking. You're talking loudly. I have an exam tomorrow. Sorry, son. Paul left. Igor turned to his wife. This isn't over. You'll regret this. He went to the bedroom. Valentina remained in the kitchen. Her hands were shaking, but her soul was calm. All cards were on the table. The next day she filed for divorce. Igor found out when he received the summons. He ran home in the middle of the day. You filed for divorce? Yes. Withdraw the application. No. Valentina, think about it. 28 years of marriage. Which you betrayed. This is just infatuation. Midlife crisis. Igor, you plan to rob me and leave. This isn't a crisis, this is betrayal. Who told you such nonsense? Valentina opened her phone, showed screenshots of the correspondence. You said it yourself. To your mistress. Igor paled, realizing the scale of the disaster. He'd forgotten about that. Igor sat on a chair, clutched his head in his hands. Val, let's talk calmly. I'm ready to end things with Irene. Too late. Val, think about the children. The children are adults. About my mother. This will kill her. Your mother will survive. Val, I love you. Lies. All lies. Igor, leave or I'll call the police. This is my home. This is our home, and I have the right to a peaceful life. Igor left, slamming the door, but returned that evening. I'll live here until the trial, in the living room. I have the right. Valentina didn't argue. The lawyer had warned that evicting him before the divorce would be difficult. A strange life began. Igor lived in the living room, demonstratively brought Irene over. They talked loudly, laughed, played music. Paul was in shock. Mom, what's happening? Who is this woman? Your father's mistress. What? But how can he bring her here? Ask him. Paul went to his father, returned half an hour later, upset. He said you're getting divorced, that you've lost your mind. And you believed him. Mom, I don't know what to believe. Valentina showed her son part of the correspondence. Paul read, and his face became increasingly grim. What a bastard. Sorry, Mom, but there's no other way to say it. Don't apologize, it's true. And what now? Now divorce. Trial in a month. And where will I live? With me if you want. The apartment stays with me. Dad said he'll take the apartment. He won't. I have a good lawyer. In April, Igor began a war. First psychological. Loud music at night, dirty dishes all over the kitchen, drunk friends in the living room. Valentina endured, recorded everything on video for court. Then it got worse. Someone punctured her car tires, then broke the side mirror. Police shrugged. No evidence. In mid-April, a turning point occurred. Valentina returned from work and found Irene's mother Galina in the apartment. What are you doing here? Igor invited me. We're discussing the future. The future? Irene is pregnant with your husband's child. Valentina sat down. Pregnant? This changed everything. How far along? 2 months. And she decided to keep it. Of course, this is a child of love. A child of love from a married man who is going to leave his wife. Do you know Igor has no money? He said you stole everything. I transferred our joint savings. Half of them are mine by law. You're a heartless woman. They'll have a child. That's their problem. Galina left, loudly indignant. That evening Valentina talked to Igor. Is it true? Irene is pregnant. Yes. So what? Congratulations. Becoming a father at 56. That's brave. I'm not old yet. Of course. Good luck. Igor expected a different reaction. Screaming, tears, hysteria. His wife's calm threw him off balance. Few days later, something unexpected happened. Her friend Vera called, whom Valentina had been friends with since youth. Val, I'm calling because I wanted to stay silent, but my conscience is bothering me. Your husband is cheating on you. Oh, Vera, yes, I know. We're getting divorced. And how do you know? Well, as it turns out, I know this Irene. She told me everything about her married boyfriend, and then it turned out it was yours. I didn't tell her I knew you, but this completely changes things. How so? She specifically hunts married men with money. She's already destroyed 3 families like this. Wow! And the pregnancy? I can't say for sure. Maybe it's not even your husband's, or maybe she's not pregnant at all. Valentina called the lawyer. Professional homewrecker, Vera summarized. There are many of them now. They look for married men, make them fall in love, destroy families, then drain the former lovers. And what about the pregnancy? We'll check in court. We'll demand a medical certificate. The trial was scheduled for May 15th. Valentina prepared, gathered documents and witnesses. A week before the trial, something unexpected happened. Paul called. Mom, Dad's in the hospital. What happened? Heart attack. He's in intensive care. Valentina went to the hospital. Not out of love, out of humanity. Igor lay under IVs, pale, haggard. Seeing his wife, he tried to smile. Val, thank you for coming. How are you? Doctors say it's pre-infarction condition. Stress. Where's Irene? I don't know. She's not answering calls. Course. A sick lover in intensive care wasn't the best catch. Val. Igor took her hand. Forgive me, I was an idiot. Igor, don't. No, listen. I understand everything. Irene, she's not pregnant. She admitted it yesterday. She wanted money for silence. Blackmail, in other words. Val, let's cancel the divorce. Let's start over. Igor, you betrayed me, called me an old lady and fool. Planned to rob me. There's no way back. Val, I'm dying. You're not dying. You're stressed, you'll recover. Left. The next day, Igor was discharged. Irene never came. The trial went quickly. Igor didn't appear, sick leave. His interests were represented by a lawyer. A young guy, obviously inexperienced. Vera demolished him completely. Evidence of infidelity, deception plans, blackmail attempts. Everything was presented to the court. Decision, divorce. Apartment to Valentina. Cabin sold and money divided. Car to Valentina. Alimony to Paul until graduation. Igor got freedom and debts. Irene left him immediately after the trial. She found a new candidate, sales department head, married with money. In June, Valentina received her divorce certificate. 28 years of marriage were over. Paul stayed with his mother, said his father had disappointed him. Ali came every weekend, helped, supported. Mom, you're amazing. I couldn't have done it. You could have. When you have no choice, you can do anything. In July, Valentina quit her job. She was tired of it. With money from the cabin sale and savings, she opened a small staffing agency, rented an office, hired an assistant. The business took off immediately. Her experience in connections helped. She wasn't reaching for the stars, but the business was slowly growing. In August, Igor unexpectedly called. Val, can we meet? Why? To talk, please. They met at a cafe downtown. Igor looked bad, thinner, haggard. Gray hair completely covered his head. How are you? He asked. Fine, working. I heard you opened your own business. Yes. Good for you. And I quit the plant, couldn't stay there. Irene still works there. And what now? I don't know. Looking for work. It's hard at 56. You'll manage. Val, I want to apologize for everything. Igor, I forgave you for my own sake, so I wouldn't carry resentment. Thank you, Val. Maybe we could. No, Igor, no maybes. We have different paths now. I understand, I just realized what I lost. You realized too late. They parted, never to meet again. In September, Valentina met Michael, 58 years old, widower, owner of a small construction company. They met at a business meeting. Not love, but mutual sympathy, respect. They began dating without obligations, simply spending time together. In October, Linda, her former mother-in-law, called. Val, how are you? Fine, Mom. And you? Bad. Igor drinks, can't find work. Lives with me. I'm sorry. Val, maybe you could talk to him? Reason with him. Mom, we're divorced. These aren't my problems. But he's the father of your children. The children are adults, and they decide for themselves whether to communicate with their father or not. Linda cried and hung up. Life was getting better. In December, 10 months after that fateful February night, Valentina sat in her office and summed up the year. Losses. A cheating husband, illusions about family, faith in people. Gains. Freedom, business, new opportunities. In January of the new year, Valentina celebrated her 55th birthday. Modestly, with close ones. Natalie, Allie with her new boyfriend. She and Arthur had broken up, Paul with his girlfriend, Michael. Igor sent congratulations by text. Happy birthday. Wishing you happiness. Valentina didn't reply. A couple of years later, Valentina was standing in line at the tax office when she heard a familiar cough. She turned around. Igor. In a worn jacket with a plastic bag of documents. He'd aged greatly. Sunken cheeks, bags under his eyes. Their eyes met. He looked away first. They stood in silence. The line moved slowly. You should quit smoking, Valentina said when he coughed again. I'm trying for the third time. Silence again. Did Paul graduate? He asked. With honors. He works at ExxonMobil now. Good for him. And Allie's pregnant. Igor nodded, coughed into his fist. You'll be a grandfather, Valentina added. If she wants me to be. She's not vindictive, just needs time. Igor's turn came. He went to the window, then returned. Missing a document, would have to start over. They left together. Outside it was drizzling. Coffee, Igor suggested. There's a little cafe nearby. Valentina wanted to refuse, but looked at his hunched back and agreed. In the cafe it was warm. They ordered American coffee. How are you living? She asked. Working at the housing department, as an engineer. Small salary but stable. And Irene? Moved to Miami, married some businessman. I heard she had a child. Not yours. No, she was never pregnant by me. She was lying. They were silent. Val, I want to say I've thought a lot these years about us, about what I did. I was an idiot. You were. Midlife crisis isn't an excuse, but it seemed to me life was passing me by, that I was missing something. And I missed you. Igor, don't. Just listen. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. I just want you to know. I regret it. Every day I regret it. Valentina finished her coffee. You know, I've thought a lot too and realized one thing. Everything's for the best. We would have continued dragging this burden of an unhappy marriage. And this way we both got a chance to start over. Did it work out for you? For me, no. Not yet. It's not evening yet. You're 59, not 90. Who needs me? Your mother died last year. Stroke. My condolences. Silence again. Outside the window, the rain intensified. I have to go, Valentina said. Val, can I have your number? In case something happens with the kids. The kids have my number. If anything happens, they'll let you know. She left the cafe without looking back. The rain soaked her coat by the time she reached her car. That evening Allie called. Mom, Dad called, said he met you. Yes, by chance. He was crying. Mom, I don't ask you to forgive him. Just maybe allow him to sometimes see his grandson when he's born. That's your decision, daughter, your child. But your opinion matters. I think everyone deserves a second chance. Not with me, that's impossible, but as a grandfather, why not? 2 months later, her grandson was born. They named him Matthew. Igor came to the maternity ward, brought a huge teddy bear. Valentina met him in the corridor. Thank you, he said, for not turning the children against me. They're adults, they decide for themselves. Still, thank you. They didn't talk anymore, saw each other at the grandson's birthdays, at holidays, nodded, greeted, went their separate ways. Life flowed on. Sometimes, very rarely, Valentina remembered that February evening 4 years ago. The evening that divided life into before and after. And she thought, what if I hadn't seen that correspondence? Would I have continued living in ignorance? No, she decided. Better bitter truth than sweet lies. Better to start over at 54 than drag false relationships to the end. And Igor got what he deserved. Not revenge, not deliberate punishment, just natural consequences of his actions. Loneliness, poverty, regret. The story ended. Not dramatically, not beautifully. Life just moved on. Each person with their own. Thank you for listening to the story until the end. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends and loved ones. It motivates us to keep working on new stories every day. Don't miss the next amazing story that's about to appear on your screen. We're very grateful to have you with us. See you soon.